Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this SimRacingHub on RFactor F1 Championship 2024 season. This is our second round, and we are at Suzuka Circuit in Japan. I'm your host, François Goulet. As a matter of fact, usually I'm co-hosted by my friend Joe Wenzel. For a second race in a row, he won't be able to make it. So for family purposes and issues, so let's just wish him our best, and we're thanking him for his moral support, and we're hoping that we'll see him in the future races. So we have a big race tonight at Suzuka Circuit, a great circuit that every driver is like. With no further ado, let's talk about the first round, though, because a lot happened in Melbourne 2 weeks ago. Lots of great racing, lots of mayhem as well. And I'm going to talk about what we saw mostly from our drivers. So first of all, at start, there was a big crash involving 4 cars, maybe 6, because 4 cars retired from the get-go, which prevented us from knowing more from these drivers and seeing their performances on track. That was a bummer. Let's hope it won't happen tonight. And 2 other cars actually retired not very long after the start. So it was a race between 14 drivers because there's usually only 20 cars on track. We had a battle throughout the race between Josh Mills and Argenis Riera, respectively for Red Bull and Aston Martin. That was crazy racing, different tire strategies. Really enjoyed it, and it came down to the wire. Last lap, Argenis Riera was on the tail of Josh Mills. Unfortunately, a back marker went in between the two drivers, and Riera had no choice but go into the kitty litter to salvage his car and finish his race and salvage his second position. I just want to point out that I saw a lot of conversation. I talked to a few drivers, and this wasn't intentional. These drivers are really friendly together, and that was just an honest mistake from the back marker. So no hard feelings between these guys. It's in the past. We're throwing this away, and we're thinking about the next race and the great season ahead of ourselves. So today, Suzuka, Japan, one of my favorite circuit, honestly, one of the drivers' favorite circuit. Why? Because it's a driver's circuit. It's a really challenging one. It has a lot of curves, the fast sectors, slow ones as well. It's an old track that's been on the calendar for many decades already. And this is a hard one. This is a narrow circuit, really technical. You can have your best race there, but it can also become a nightmare. If you start making mistakes, you're going to lose your focus, and you will end up in a wall or the kitty litter, and then it's really hard to come back from this. So before we go further into the circuit and the challenges it presents to us, let's go with the driver standing first, because yes, we have a driver standing since we had one race already. And who's leading the championship for the Red Bull team? We have Josh Mills with 25 points, followed by Argenis Riera. I spoke about them a minute ago. So great race between them two. I'm looking forward to see them battle tonight. In third position, you got Otto Acosta with 15 points, and then Janos Magasrevi with 12 points, Elise Tape with 10. We got Glenn Cooper with 8, Bill Ward with 6, and Richard Haney with 4, followed by Sean Higgins 2, and Richard Walcott with 1 point. So those are the 10 drivers that scored points last race around. Remember that this is exactly like a real Formula One race. We only have 10 guys that can be in the points. There's a bonus point awarded for the fastest lap, although it has to be a driver within the top 10 for these points to be counted and accumulated in the final standings. Regarding the team standing, Red Bull Racing scored 25 points since Jean-Pierre Lalancette for Red Bull, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is. So Mr. Lalancette wasn't able to participate in the race, although his teammate Josh Mills scored the maximum amount of points, but the fastest lap in that race. So they got the 25 points, followed by the McLaren F1 team that scored good points in the last race. Aston Martin has the only 19 because the same fate happened to Argenis Riera's teammate, so he couldn't finish the race. That's the only 19 points they could score in that race. Then followed in fourth position by the Mercedes AMG Petronas team with 12, Monogram Haas F1 team with 10 points, Scuderia Ferrari with 7, and Williams Racing following in 7th position with 6 points. Only the 3 teams, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, and Alpine haven't scored a point yet. Let's hope for them they can turn that thing around today. So that wraps it up for the driver standing and the team standing. So Suzuka, if you could see the map on your screen that my producer will show you, this is a very, very technical track. So when you start this race, it's not a tight first corner like we see usually. It's a fast right-hander followed with just a slider slower one. You can go too wide in there, but you really got to be careful not to tangle with a driver because you can end up in the grass. Although with the first corner, the first part of the corner, there's usually asphalt after a little grass patch. So it's, it's not let's say, dramatical if you go off track there, but you have to let all the cars go and then recuperate from that. Then you got what we call the snake or the S's. This is a fast left, right, and then the Dunlop curve, which is a long left sweeper that these drivers will probably be able to take full throttle. I haven't done this track with a Formula One car in a while, so I'm really interested to see if they can take that curve full throttle. And then they arrive at a place called Degner. Degner has two parts. It's a fast right-hander, really sharp, and then a slower right-hander. So it's Degner 1 and Degner 2, and then they're going underneath the little bridge towards the hairpin. This is the slowest part of the Suzuka track, that hairpin. And then you got the big relaunch with a long right curve. It's full throttle. Don't get me wrong. And then you arrive at Spoon because it looks like a spoon. That's why they call it like that way. And then you got the backstretch leading to the infamous 130R curve, full throttle with a Formula One car. Lots of G's taken from our drivers in the simulator, of course. And then they arrive at what we call the Casio corner. Me and my buddy Greasy, who's usually hosting with me, we called it the Casino corner. We actually misspelled it one time, but we like to call it Casino corner. That's because that's where everybody gambles. So, and then after that chicane, you got the start-finish line. Not that big of a stretch there, but it's enough for the DRS to be open and a good move to be done in turn 1. So, as I said earlier, I'm looking forward to see no crash at the start, to be able to have a race amongst 20 people instead of just 14. We had good racing in the mid pack and at the front last race, but of course a Formula One race is different from a GT race because they all have these different compounds to use during the race. And if you start on hards or medium, it can really dictate the strategies, and you really see what's things unfold at the end when everybody did everyone made their last pit stops, and you really got the great the proper picture of what will going on. As usual, we're going to start a qualifying session at 9:15 Eastern time, or 21:15 Eastern time, which is exactly in 2 minutes. I don't know if we're going to see a driver comfortable with this track, just making a surprise compared to the result from last week. It's a blank page for everybody. I think you can easily make mistakes, but if you take the proper amount of risk in this circuit, it's easy to gain time, and you have to be bold. You have to be confident in order to score a good result in this race. Also, I always like these fun facts, and since I have a little time before the quali starts, when I was digging about the circuit, and I've done that circuit a lot on sim racing, and I've been watching Formula One for like more than 30 years now. There's a thing I didn't know, is that prior to the layout that we have now, this track used to be a lot faster. So we're going to show you a picture, I think, at some point during the race, or in between the quali and the main event, to show you what it looked like around 4 years ago, and you'll see that it was a whole different ball game, this track. So we're waiting for the drivers to get out of the pits. They're actually all in their pit boxes, waiting for the green light. They're going to have 10 minutes of qualifications, which means probably 3 hot laps, although it's a long lap usually in this race. Let me point out that in the last race in Melbourne at Albert Park, the drivers made the pole position with a time faster than the Formula One drivers in real life, which was a 1:14.7 something, and the real drivers were in the 1:15s, if I'm not mistaken. So I was quite surprised about that when I watched the real Formula One race after that sim racing event that we had last week. So still waiting for the drivers to get out. Suzuka circuit has been for a long time the last, well, for not that much of a long time, but for a while, the last race of the season, the title decider for Formula One racers. So there's a lot of history on that track. If you want to look it up, I highly suggest you see the Senna and Prost battles that happen here. Lots of mayhem, and there will be another fun fact about that when I have a few minutes to talk to you about. The drivers are getting out of the pits, and there's a Red Bull car in front, and I'm going to try to figure out who that is. This is Josh Mills, our last week's winner, who's leading the pack and maneuvering, warming up his tires around the S's, the snake. That Dunlop curve is the one you're seeing now, so they might be able, if you're watching in Josh Mills, you might be able to take it full throttle, arriving at Mills arriving at Degner 1 and 2, going underneath the bridge. This is the only track that is not clockwise or counterclockwise. It's actually both, because it's an 8 shape, not like those Destruction Derby tracks that you know, they get into each other at the junction of the 8. It just goes on top of itself at some point. So that's why it's a unique track that you never see elsewhere in the Formula One calendar. So Mills leading. I say just leading the pack, that is. So they're leaving themselves a little breathing room in order to be able to do their laps. And in the meantime, I'm going to go look on the live if there's anybody here. So we got 12 viewers, but no messages yet. So you can talk to me, guys. I like to have conversations. I'm a bit alone today, as I said. My buddy's not here. And we got Darren Brady. Oh, that's Churro. What's up, Churro? Churro's my teammate on Gran Turismo. A nice guy. A great guy. Baseball coach. Enjoy, Churro. We're going to see a lot of good racing tonight. I don't know if you missed or if you saw the first race in Melbourne. That was some sort of a drama setter. This is the Suzuka track, man. We like that track. The hairpin right here. We saw Mills just spinning the wheels, getting out of the hairpin. I'm watching Mills right now because I want to see his speed. I think he made the pole last race around. Not sure. Might have been him. And he's coming to the backstretch, arriving at 130R. Full throttle, heavy on the brake. So first time set for Mills is a 126.3. He's followed, I think, by Riera with a 126.0. So Riera in good position so far. Bill Worrell, sorry, in third with a 27.4. No, okay. Things are getting quite busy right here. So I'm going to wait till they all pass the finish line to draw you a picture of the first standings. This is subject to change. Oof. Was watching Mills almost lost the car. So a few drivers are getting out of the pits as well. So let's just hope there won't be any traffic jams in this regard. So far, Riera, Mills, Ezequiel Montero. Ezequiel Montero is still filling for probably for, okay, no, never mind. Maybe filling in from Juan del Castillo like last week. I don't have the information, but Ezequiel Montero was actually filling for Juan del Castillo last week, and he's doing some times tonight, so he's probably filling in as well. But I see Juan del Castillo doing some times as well. So let me see what's going on with that. Now, Ezequiel Montero is actually filling for Jean-Pierre Lalancette in the Red Bull team. That's what's going on. So he's a ringer driver, let's put it that way, Ezequiel Montero, and he's sitting in third position in that Red Bull with a 27.3. In four, you got Elise Tape, Janos Magasrivi in 5, Walcott in 6, Jeff Oppenheim in 7, Jacobo Cardoso in 8, Glenn Cooper, that I met this week on the Discord channel. Hi, Glenn. In 9th position, and Bill Worrell in the 10th position, followed by Higgins, Ricardo Sr., Stephen Broderson, Thomas Shepard, and Cliff Van Lievard. No times yet for Otto Acosta, Richard Haney, that I met as well, had a great conversation with him. No time for Del Castillo, Mitsalis, and Cook. Some of them are in the pits, getting out. Now 15 viewers. Come on, let's be active on the chat. You can ask me some questions if you want. We can trivia. We can challenge ourselves. Let's have some fun while we're watching great sim racing. So no times yet for the 5 last: Otto Acosta, Richard Haney, Juan Del Castillo, Tony Mitsalis, and John Cook. And let's see how much time we got left in that quali session. 3 minutes 20. So that's good for the last out lap and the last hot lap. So let me remind you that this is not like the real Formula One championship. These cars are, let's say it's a spec race. So even though usually in the real Formula One championship, you know that Red Bull pretty much is going to win everything unless Max Verstappen breaks out. In this championship, nothing is certain. Each cars has the same mechanics, suspensions, so they're all equal on performance, which is fun because you never know what's going to happen. Pretty much like in IndyCar or NASCAR, you got a lot of drivers that are capable of winning, so everything's on the table. Oh! That was Montero on his hot lap. He clipped the grass, and we got a Haas car in the kitty litter as well. So not good for these two drivers. I didn't quite see who was the Haas car, but it might have been Tape. No, it wasn't Tape. It was Shepard. So yeah, Shepard's back in the pit, and he's gonna have to start from the 18th position. That's unfortunate for him. I was saying that Ezequiel Montero, almost lost the car when in the grass. I don't think, no, there's no way he's gonna improve on his 4th position. Let's hope it's going to stick. Oh. I think we had Josh Mills half here cheering for all the drivers in the chat, and nice, giving credits for bringing home the checkered flannel billboard. Nice meeting you, Josh Mills. All right, and Janos Magasrivi took 3rd place. So that's relegating Montero in 5th, actually, right now. A lot of drivers in the pits. Let's see who has a lap to finish. Riera still very comfortable in the first spot. Josh Mills is still doing his lap as well, arriving at the backstretch. So Magasrivi on his slowdown lap. Let's see if someone can make a surprise, create some unexpectancy. Oh, and Mills lost the car at the last curve. Walcott is improving on his time right now. And he's in 4th position, so that's relegating Montero in 6th, Acosta in 5th. Good job from his part. And the quali is finished. Is there another car on a hot lap? I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think there is right now. Or Glenn Cooper seems to be going pretty fast. So he's at Spoon right now, if I'm not mistaken. Glenn Cooper for the McLaren team, arriving at the backstretch. Oh, well, thank you very much. No specifics. Yeah, I'm quite happy to be here, actually. I'm having fun watching these races, broadcasting. This is a new passion for me. Have done this for just a year and a half so far. And what about Glenn Cooper? Oh, he's going back in the pit. So that was probably slow down lap, or he knew that he couldn't improve. So I think we got a grid here that is pretty much banked. Put it that way, it's in the bank. Yeah, okay, so yeah, they're not going. Walcott for Ferrari is not going faster. So was going to start first, Riera and Josh Mills. So the R2 drivers from last race that were battling. If I remember correctly, I think Riera had the pole as well. I don't recall. There was like 1/10 of a second between first and third. That was just crazy. Then we got Mills in second, Janos Magasrevi in third, Richard Walcott in 4th position, Otto Acosta in 5th, and Ezequiel Montero 6th, Elise Tape in 7th, Glenn Cooper 8th, Richard Haney 9th, Bill Warren 10th, Sean Higgins 11th, Jeff Hoppenheim in 12th, Jacobo Cardozo in 13th position, and Juan del Castillo in 14th, followed by Ricardo Senor in 15th position. 16th is John Cook, 17th Tony Mitsalis, and in 18th Cliff Van Livarde, then Stefan Broderson in 19th position, and Thomas Shepard wrapping up the field in 20th. Let's just cross our finger for no crashes in this race. I will try to send my buddy here the map that I had for this race. It's going to be, yeah, we're going to go to a little teaser and we'll be right back. And we're back. Cars are going around the track for a little warm-up. Unfortunately, because of a little technical problem, and we're not strangers to technical difficulties so far with our broadcast, we're not able to show you the picture I had for the track, but I'm still going to tell you what happened with that. What I discovered is that the old layout of this track used to be much faster. So let's say you saw the map from earlier. Maybe we might be able to see it. I don't know. The Casio corner, which is now the chicane, the famous place where Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost tangled together with their McLarens, used to be a long right fast corner. So there was no brake zone there. No, no, not the same. No, not a hard braking opportunity or overtaking opportunity. So let's say you were going out of Spoon, going fast 130R, and instead of hard braking before the start finish line, you were going probably full throttle with a F1 car, or just slowing down a little bit, and a long right sweeper leading to the start finish line. So that must have been something really nice to do with a Formula car. And there's another place. When I was watching this, I discovered that Degner 1 and 2 used to be a long right sweeper as well. So it used to be just a long right track, right curve, instead of being like too tight, not 90 degrees, but, you know, an open angle almost between just a little above 90 degrees. So this track back in the day used to be much faster. I think maybe for security purposes, of course, they changed it, and maybe for the show as well, because that chicane at the end is a great place where overtaking can happen, and this wouldn't have been possible but for a driver's perspective, it must have been really thrilling to do this track around. Still warm-upping their cars. Another thing that changed over the years is the turn one, because now you see that in Formula One tracks, they make, they put pavement on the edges of track in order to slow down the cars if they go off. We see that at Silverstone, Spa. We see it here at turn one. Back in the day, it used to be gravel, or the kitty litter, like we like to call it. And another fun fact that I learned lately, for those who remember the Ayrton Senna and Prost saga, the year after their crash at the Casio corner, Senna made the pole for McLaren, and Prost was on second position for Ferrari. And what happened between them is that Senna was on the dirty part of the track. And he complained about that. He said that that wasn't right, that the first position would be on the dirty part of the track. That's a big disadvantage. So, as expected, when they started, Senna was not, spun is weird, but had a lesser, good start than Prost did. And, of course, what had to happen, happened. We remember the famous comments by Murray Walker, like, it happened from the start, bro. What happened is that Senna ran into Alain Prost, taking them both out in the gravel. And the fun fact is that the photographs there that are photographing for different journals or magazines, they're all far from the track. They all use long perspective lenses for their cameras, except one guy, and that one guy was Ayrton Senna's personal photograph. Why he had a short lens, we can speculate that he knew something that other people didn't, but we'll probably never know. But I wanted to share that with you because I learned that. So the only pictures taken for the two drivers getting out of their cars right there in front of the stands were from Ayrton Senna's personal photograph. So that was the little fun fact about that episode in 1990 that happened between those two drivers. So they did their warm-ups, and we're about to go on the grid and start this race. As I said, we're crossing our fingers. Let's hope for good racing in the S's. This is a tight spot. I've had my share of mishaps there. If you don't know how to keep your line there and you're running too wide, it can become really dramatical. And let me remind you that these cars, you can repair some of the damages, but if you got damage beyond repair, you have to retire the car automatically. And this is unfortunate when it happens like that. As I said, we had 6 cars last race that couldn't make it past a few laps. Let's hope we're going to have 20 cars in shape, at least for a while, because, you know, things happens in a race like that, and it's really rare that you see the 20 cars finish a Formula One race like that. So cars are still in the pits. I gotta be honest. I would love to be in the car right now driving this track. This is such fun. So the cars are on the grid right now, and they're going for their formation lap. Richard. This race is going to be a 53-lap race. We got the C1 to C3 spec for the tires. If I remember correctly, last race we had the C3 to C5 spec, so we're on the opposite of the specs for the tire compound, which means the softest compound that we have today is the hardest that we had last week. For those who wouldn't be familiar with the compounds. Let me see, we got more people in the live. We got David Longuera, who's cheering for, let me see. He's cheering for Janos Esteban, so that's Janos Magasrevi, or Janos Magasrevi. And oh, we got FR Podcast. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I like trivia. For those who understand French here, our friend from FR Podcast has the best French F1 podcast, and you got to look him up. He digs deep into the subjects. He got a great Facebook page as well. For those who can use Google Translate, you can go on his page, even though it's in French. A lot of English speaking people go there. They can translate whatever's written there, and you get all the latest news on Formula One and all the insights. And he's doing this with professionalism. And lots of hard work. So kudos to Marty Simo, and thank you for being here, Marty. Appreciate that. That's our second race, Marty. I know you weren't here for the first one in Albert Park. We know that's not the second race of the season. I'm sure you're aware of that. But for the SimRacingHub is our second race of the season. So they're arriving. The cars are arriving at Casio Corner. I'm going to be looking in my screen personally at our Jenis Riera and Josh Mills, our two protagonists from last race. Remember, Mills won the race in a dramatic fashion when Riera got, unfortunately, got tangled with a back marker and had to go in the gravel to salvage his second position. Drivers taking place in their boxes. What happened last week also, the crash at start, is because a car stalled on the grid. So this is technical. This is not easy. It's not easy to start with these cars. This is the real deal. They're getting in position. One last car going to the grid. And we're awaiting the lights. Not a long distance before turn one here. Still waiting for the lights. Second light, third light, fourth light, fifth light. And lights out. The race is on at Suzuka, Japan. Good start from Haney and Mills. Mills right behind Riera and Mills. My mistake. Drivers behaving, two wides with the Ferrari and the McLaren turn two, and they're going in the S's. Watching mid-pack, everybody seems to be unscathed. Two wide here between Cardoso and that's Van Livarde. Coming back to the front. Mills and Riera's tail, both on the soft compound. Arriving at the hairpin, And I can tell you one thing, these guys are not gonna leave each other for the race. I'm pretty positive about that. That's my expectation. So we might see already Mills trying to take advantage of the draft. They're arriving at the backstretch, exiting out of Spoon. In third position already, there's distances between the car, but Mills, pointing his nose, trying to make Riera, try to, push Riera to a mistake. Not happening, and Mills almost lost the car on the relaunch, so he's losing a few tenths here. At least I'm gonna see further. In third position, that's Magasrevi in Mills' tail. That wasn't good for Mills. That little wheel spin at the exit of Casio corner at the last curve prevented him from staying into Riera's tail. And now these cars, they have around, let me see, 6 tenths between each other. Let's go see in the make pack personally what's going on between the drivers. So far, so good. We got 19 cars actually already. John Cook is out of the race, unfortunately. Cook driving for Alpine, so that's an unfortunate. There, we got a race at the exit of the hairpin here between Higgins, Mitsalis, and Senior. No, sorry, Mitsalis, Higgins, and then Livardi. The 3 drivers fighting for 16th position or 15th position. Sorry, my bad. They were together at the exit of the hairpin, but it's not happening. So we had great action there for a brief moment. And Mills is back in the tail of Riera. And Mills on the outside of turn 1. Wow. Oh, no. He went wide. He's on the patch of tarmac. He has to recuperate. That was a great attempt from Josh Mills. He had the run behind Riera with the draft. Unfortunately, couldn't make it stick, but don't worry about it. He will come back. These guys, they don't give up. The distance between them two is within 1 second. That's 9 tenths arriving at the hairpin. And that's the exact same gap we have from second to third with Magasrevi behind Mills. Also on the live, we got, we got David Longuera and Nick Allard, which is hosting the F1, the same kind of racing for F1 Sim Race Canada on RFactor as well. So don't miss it up. Same channel, GTCQ TV on Sunday night. I think it's at 7:30, if I'm not mistaken. Someone will correct me if I do. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So Mills is back between 6 and 7 tenths from Riera. So I don't know if it's Riera maybe saving a little bit of tires. Because, yeah, tires here, they can grind pretty easily. But he's right on his tail. This is insane. These guys are not giving up. Mills especially right now. He's on Riera's tail. See, I learned my lesson. Somebody told me that this week. You'll know when you hear me after your race. So arriving at Degner 1 and 2. This is these corners are hard. They look easy, but Degner 1 and 2, you can make or break your race there. Arriving at the hairpin. So still a little gap, 8 tenths between the two. Josh Mills having issues with his relaunches. We see him spin every now and then. So that's making him lose around 1 or 2 tenths per little wheel spin. And it can be worse than that. So that's just like he's containing the damages. We're at the fourth lap out of 53 right now, and you see the sparks at 130R. It's a full throttle corner. That's a spectacular one. Unfortunate location when where Jules Bianchi lost his life in I think it was 2014, if I'm not mistaken. That's a dangerous corner, but also one of their favorite because it's full throttle and this is an adrenaline rush. So now Mills is 1.7 seconds behind Riera, so something must happen. And let's see, in fifth place there's a fight between Glenn Cooper and Tate for the Haas team behind Cooper. I'm trying to see if he has damage. No, okay, that's the side pod. We're taking and Hoppenheim just crashed. He's stuck in the fence. I think this is it for him. Jeff Hoppenheim for Alfa Romeo Stake F1 team. He's stuck in the barrier and he's in the pit. That's a DNF for Jeff Hoppenheim. Unfortunate for him. And I'm going to go around the order just to see where the drivers are. If we got some fighting going on. Unfortunate for our two drivers, Hoppenheim and Cook. So Ezequiel Montero had a good starting spot. Now he's back in 14th position. Something must have happened to him. Oh, and we got Thomas Shepard, almost crashed the car as well. He's in 17th position. And so far, everybody pretty much behaving right now. But we have Otto Acosta followed by Jacopo Cardoso in the Alpine. So that's a Williams followed by an Alpine. And they're within exactly, what's the difference between the two? That can't be right. They're following themselves pretty quickly. Sorry, I don't think I have the right gap here. Okay, no, so I was mistaken. That's Richard Haney and Juan del Castillo. I got distracted with my my times here. So Haney followed by Del Castillo within a half of a second. So this is where the action is right now. Just gonna look at up front. Nothing happening between Riera and Cardoso. So let's look at Del Castillo behind Richard Haney. Arriving at Spoon. Good corner exit from both drivers. $130R full throttle. The draft is there. Oh, is he gonna attempt something? No, but he's right on the tail of Richard Haney. I think Del Castillo having a better corner exit at the last corner, arriving to the start-finish line. Yes, he's got the draft. He's gonna take the inside. Pretty easy pass right before turn one, so not even a challenge for Del Castillo and Richard Haney. Can Haney take that position back? We'll see. Still watching around the grid to see if there's anything juicy. So we got Riera followed by Mills, Magus Revi, Richard Walcott, Glenn Cooper, Elise Tate, Juan del Castillo, Richard Haney, Otto Acosta, and Jacopo Cardoso for the top 10 so far. Everybody's pretty much spread out except for Haney and Del Castillo, still very much battling for the same piece of real estate right now. Arriving at Spoon again. Can Haney, with the draft, be able to take that spot back? So let's see, the gap is 5/10, and in Formula One this is nothing. You're right behind the car, getting the draft, having a little bit of dirty air at 130R, but that's not a factor, I think. Hard on the brakes at Casio Corner. Oh, hard on the rumble strip for Richard Haney. I think this will cost him. It might be the deal breaker for overtaking attempt at turn 1 for this this lap around. Lap 8 out of 53. So far, Richard Haney and Juan del Castillo. Now there is more than a second between, well, exactly a second between both drivers at the Dunlop curve. I will go in the field to see if something changed. Oh, we got Mitsalis and, is that Mitsalis and Higgins as well within a second of each other. Mitsalis being in front of Higgins for AlphaTauri, Higgins for I think it's Williams. Yes, it is. Arriving at Degner, both of them. So I'm gonna go back to Haney to see. No, there's a bigger gap with Haney and Del Castillo. Back to Higgins and Mitsalis. It's only 6/10 out of the hairpin. Can he manage Spoon to be able to be close enough in order to make an overtaking attempt? Maybe at the chicane, or just setting himself up for a draft pass at the start finish break. Oh, right. Look at that. In the draft, he's right on Mitsalis' tail. Sean Higgins, that is. He just has to get a good corner exit there, harder on the rumble. It might not happen. That rumble strip, you see the car bouncing on it, and that's preventing him from putting all the throttle and applying it to the rear axle. So he's on Mitsalis' tail. That's exactly 0.5 of a second right now. Sean Higgins on Tony Mitsalis. And this probably won't happen until Spoon, exactly. That's pretty much the, I wouldn't say the only overtaking opportunity, but when drivers don't make much mistakes, that's where you set yourself up. Except if you can get close enough at this hairpin here, at the hairpin in the middle of the track where I'm watching Higgins and Mitsalis. If you can get close enough, you can try an overtaking attempt at Spoon, but you're always better keeping your advantage and then trying to draft prior to 130R or just following to 130R and get the driver on the brake. Going back to Riera up front just to see where these guys are going. So we might see undercuts like we saw last week, and maybe different tire strategies during the race, because every driver at front seems to be on the soft compound until Glenn Cooper, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to figure that out. Going back to Higgins. Are they still fighting? Oh! All right, so Mitsalis went wide on turn 1 and lost the position to Sean Higgins. And Higgins in Bill Worrell's tail. And remember, Worrell last race was part of every fight in the midfield. Unfortunately, making great passing attempts, but couldn't just make it stick. Lost a few positions because of that, but he was very much in the mix. So now we got a 3-car battle between Bill Worrell, Sean Higgins, and Mitsalis. It's for 13th position, but we don't care about where it's for. We just want to see good fighting amongst drivers. So Higgins behind Worrell. And this might happen. Worrell on medium tires. And Higgins still on the soft compound. This is a tough spot to make it stick. Clever drivers will wait here Oh, they're both going deep in the Castle corner, but so that's not advantaging either of the drivers. So neither of them have an advantage there, but he's in the draft. So Higgins in the draft of Worrells going on the inside. Worrells not protecting on the medium compound. He might be able to get him back when the advantage of the soft compound is no longer present. So nicely done from Sean Higgins on Worrell, and now you got Mitsalis on Worrell's tail. All right, we have some action here. Midfield, front field. And now we have a fight for 6 to 8 between that's Richard Haney, Juan del Castillo, and Otto Acosta, respectively, for Williams, Alpine, and McLaren. Acosta very much behind del Castillo. Oh, Acosta wide at the 130R, probably victim of the dirty air effects. And oh wow, he's right on his tail. Acosta, that is, on del Castillo. I'm sorry, no, del Castillo and Haney. My bad. Taking advantage of the draft, making it stick inside turn 1, and now the McLaren is pointing his nose. Going hard into the S's. They're all in the soft compound, I think, except the McLaren, who's on mediums. Nevertheless performant. So good move from Juan del Castillo. Made it stick. Great pass on Richard Haney. In the meantime, Riera and Mills still 1.5 seconds from each other, probably managing tire wear, hoping for one or the other making a mistake. Magas Rivi in 3rd position in no man's land, and Walcott in 4th position, followed by Glenn Cooper. So he's really close to Walcott. This could be a factor. And we see Cooper on the soft compound and Walcott on the medium. He's in the draft. Can he make it? Oh, in the inside at turn 1. Side by side, turn 1. They touch a little bit, I think. The pass is done. Great show. Nicely done from the McLaren driver on the Ferrari. Walcott tried to stick around, protect his position, keep his line. Couldn't do it. The difference between the compound must be the main factor here. But that's what we want to see. And you see Cooper going on the rumble strip on the right inside of Degner 1. This could be a killer. You can easily lose the balance of your car there and be thrown into the gravel. Whoa, okay, a bad relaunch from Walcott there. It's like he spun the tires or had a little mishap, but he lost a ton of time there. Oof. Oh wow, he's losing ground. He lost around a second and a half. Between a second and a second and a half. That's my estimate of the loss there. Josh Mills, 1.1 between 1.1 and 1.5. That's fluctuating behind Riera. And that's what I'm looking at. 8th position, a fight there. So we got Del Castillo, Acosta, and Haney again going at it. So the two drivers have the advantage of the draft. Look at that, inside turn 1. Great move from the McLaren driver here, Otto Acosta, on Richard Haney. And now you get Haney's under attack from the Alpine. But these guys are really going at it, good, providing us with a great show today. Thank you very much. That's what we want to see. trying to keep an eye on every battles in the field, whether it's up front or in the mid pack, the rear of the pack. No worries there. We're taking him all. Good relaunch from all the drivers at the chicane. Now the gaps between Acosta, Haney, and Del Castillo, respectively 0.6 and a second, between 6th and 7th and 7th to 8th. Let's see if there's other gaps worth mentioning here. You got Bill Whirl in 15, within 1 second of Mitsalis. So we'll keep an eye on this. But Elise Tate behind Del Castillo at 130R, 0.2 of a second. Can he do it under braking? No, setting himself up for the start-finish line, both on the soft compound. Lost a little bit of ground for Tate, and right in front of Tate, well, we got Del Castillo. No, sorry, Haney on Acosta with the draft. So whew, it's hard to follow all these battles, but oh, Tate on the outside. Misjudged the brake or victim of the dirty air. So it is done for that battle for now, so far. So unfortunate for Elise Tate, but we're going to watch Haney behind Acosta at Degner 1 and 2. The gap between both of them is half a sec. Arriving at the hairpin. Can Haney have a good launch? Oh yeah, he's gonna have a much better launch than Acosta. I don't know what happened to Acosta. He went wide and had I wouldn't say a lesser good relaunch than Haney. Oh, Argenis Riera in the pits right now. We're gonna look at this, but let's keep focus on Haney and Acosta. So Riera preventing Mills from an undercut. Okay, no battles so far between Acosta and Haney. So let's see Riera coming out of the pits in 3rd position comfortably, still on the soft compound. So he did 16 laps with the soft compound, keeping his 1st position. What about Mills? Will Mills be able to sustain, do a good in lap if that is his in lap so far? Because he has to cope with that move from Argenis Riera. I'm actually surprised he didn't follow him. He might lose a second or more from the fresh set of slicks that Riera put. So we're gonna keep an eye on Mills to see if he is going in the pits right now. But we still got the battle between Haney and Acosta, and these guys are they're as well in the soft compound. So is Riera protecting his position by pitting early? Is it too early to take advantage of the length that can provide a soft set of stickers? Let's see Mills. Mills is still out. Not going into pits. He might have something in mind, or he might have protected his tire better than Riera, staying behind him and just like managing his tire compound, being able to do steady times. All right. Oh yeah, right. Riera's on mediums. I saw soft, but my bad. He's on the medium compounds. I think. Oh, okay. So far, I can only see the tires while I'm looking at the screen. I usually have that information on my hub. So that's okay. Now I see where I get them. Never mind. So I'll be able to keep you informed of the tower compound after the first set of pit stops. So Mills still out. Okay, Mills in the pits. So he did 2 extra laps on Riera Is a fresh set of mediums faster than a old set of soft? Maybe. Third position in the pits, Magas Revi. When I say third position, now it's things are getting back in order. Oh wow! So Mills almost did an overcut. He's in Riera's tail, so the fight for the first position is back in business. Of course, Riera has already his tires warmed up, so you're going to see a little advantage there, but it shouldn't last more than maybe half or 2/3 of a lap. The difference between both of them is 0.6. That's not much. Increasing though, 0.7. But we saw Mills attacking Riera a lot in the first part of this race. I think it's gonna happen again. These drivers staying in contact with each other for most of the race. And then now the fight is on. It's 0.3 between the two. Good corner exit from both drivers, arriving on the last corner after a Casio triangle. And Mills in the draft. Riera protecting on the inside. Good protecting move. That's clever. Mills on the outside. Can he make it stick? On the outside. Wow. Outside of turn 1 and turn 2, he takes the first position from Riera. Great move from Mills. Wow. Now can Riera bounce back? Wow, I'm always amazed with a great outside pass. I'm a big fan of outside passes. These are the best. Riera made everything in his, you know, everything possible to protect, you know, within the regulations. That was a great move from his part, but Mills had the draft and he made it stick on the outside of turn 1, which is a fast left-hander, so you got a faster line going into second corner. So Mills leading already 1.5 seconds in front of Riera. He really stepped on it. That's incredible that he managed to pull out a gap like that in one lap. Easy pacing himself up and just waiting for the right moment. And we know that Riera can bounce back. He came back from almost a 2-second gap last race in Melbourne and was right on Mills' tails at the end of the race. For those who were there, you can always get that race on GTCQ TV. That's the channel we're broadcasting from, so nothing is lost. Our first broadcast at Melbourne Albert Park Circuit was fun. Had a little technical difficulties. I had to finish the race on my phone, but nevertheless fun to watch and fun to describe. So let's see what's happening. We got pits for Otto Acosta and Jacobo Cardoso. So the pit window is very much into play right now. We got another DNF from Thomas Shepard that we didn't see what happened, unfortunately, because we were busy watching drivers fighting. So unfortunately, Thomas Shepard from the Aus F1 team not going to be scoring points for him or his team today. So Richard Haney within a second of Otto Acosta. And we got Sean Higgins behind, Sean Higgins and Ricardo Senor. That was an overtake after the bridge. Not sure what happened there. Probably a mistake from the from the Aston Martin driver, because that's not a place where there's an overtaking usually. So Ricardo Senior, unfortunately, probably lost the car under the bridge and had to slow down. Yeah, went into grass. Okay, that's what we can see right now. He went into the grass section. So can he bounce back? And for the okay, no, well, anyways, he's gonna take that position back because Higgins in the pits right now for Williams. Ezequiel Montero in the pits. Magus Revi in 5th, used to be in 3rd position, so something must have happened there. We got a fight right here. That's Walcott defending from Magus Revi. So remember, some drivers had a different tire compound from the soft, and so after the first pit stop, some other drivers were on the soft compounds, and now they're making their tires work for them. Overtaking on the inside at 130R. Can Walcott take it back on the hard braking at Casio Triangle? No, not gonna happen. So now you got Magus Revi with the soft compound chasing Glenn Cooper in the McLaren. Oh, this is going to be good. In the meantime, Riera is right behind Mills, 7/10. So we're watching these two battles from for real estate here, which is 3rd, the last step of the podium, and 1st position. Okay. So watching Riera on Mills' tail. And another little wiggle from Mills at the exit of the hairpin. So I don't know. They might have a different setup for maybe traction control or just a different input with their hardware from Sim Racing Rig. But so far we haven't seen that from Riera. I'm not saying it didn't happen, just saying that sometimes we see Mills just having a little trouble putting the applying the throttle on the rear axle. So, oh, good Casio Triangle corner, good chicane corner by Mills here. Should be increasing the gap just a tad, but Riera's in the draft, so that will prevent him from an attempt. And that's the fun part for the driver, the S's, like big left, right, another left right here, another right, and that long left sweeper. Magus Revi took 4th position. Oh, sorry, 3rd position, yeah. The back marker in the AlphaTauri. That is, I think, Van Leeuwarden, who left space for our drivers up front. Nicely done. I gotta point out while we're watching some fight. Oh, Riera on Mills' tail. I spoke to a few drivers this week, introduced myself in the Discord channel, and we had a great talk. That was a short chat, but the feeling I have from these drivers is they're all a tight community. They respect each other. They're here to have fun, and I had a great impression. They made a good impression, and I'm looking forward to speak with them and maybe have interviews for the following rounds, maybe in order to get their inputs on the racing. But they're all here for fun. They're respecting each other, and this is a good friendship, a good brotherhood, I could say, within these competitors. So that said, let's keep an eye on our leaders here. And there's a back marker. I think it's a Ferrari. That would be, I think that's Bill Worrell, if I'm not mistaken. So not a factor. Oh no, I think that's an Alfa Romeo car, if I'm not mistaken. It's hard to see. That's Stefford Brotherson. So yeah, that's an Alfa Romeo car. Alfa Romeo and Ferrari, both red cars. Sometimes hard to distinguish them if you're not close enough. Arriving at Spoon, Mills in front of Riera. I have the feeling I'm gonna have these two names in my mouth a lot this season. So Riera in the draft, and we're almost half race. You know, half race in. It's lap 24 out of 53. Great corner exit by both drivers. Can Riera make a pass here at turn number 1 using the draft? And will Mills protect that? Is it gonna happen? Oof. Riera cleverly waited, not losing Mills one bit, trying to push him to a mistake. He was not close enough to try a dive bomb. Going back at the hairpin, looking at the other gaps on track just to be sure we're not missing anything. But so far, the closest gap we have is between Genius Riera in second and Josh Mills in first. People on the live, can you predict the winner? That would be something interesting. I don't want to predict anything from my position. I'm staying neutral, but I want to know what you guys are thinking. And Riera is using the draft to get closer to Mills. Hard on the brakes, nose to tail. Oh! Well, okay, never mind. That was a glitch on my screen. That was a piece of lag. So nothing happened. I'll tell you what I saw later, but I want to keep talking about this great racing going on. All right, long story short, I saw Mills going off track and Riera following him. Just a glitch, fortunately. So the two drivers going hard at it. This is incredible. In the midfield, nothing much happening. Montero is within 2 seconds of Worrell for 12th. Remember, we got 3 cars retired from the race, which are John Cook, Jeff Oppenheim, and Thomas Shepard. Riera and Mills still within 1 second from each other, going out of Spoon. And you see the gap decreasing with the draft. And there's another back marker, which would be Sean Higgins getting caught up by our leaders right now. So they're not quite to Higgins yet, but this should happen within half a lap. So far only 3 drivers 1 lap down. Higgins will be the next in line for that. That's better than what we saw last race, because last race we had more drivers being lapped closer in the race than that, regardless of the DNFs. Okay, so what will Higgins do here? I think he's just going on the outside line, not being a factor here. Well done by Sean Higgins. Much respect to that. Not being involved between the 2 drivers. And I can tell you that nobody wants to be involved in this battle this week. from what happened last week. Sorry, 2 weeks ago, last race. My bad. Weeks are going by pretty quickly nowadays. For me, it's like yesterday. So both drivers still very much in contention for first place. Nothing happening so far. Riera patiently waiting for a mistake by Mills. So far... Oh! Riera outside of turn 1. Oh, wow! What happened? Victim of the dirty air. So Higgins, again, just getting out of Riera's way, but that's going to cost Riera a lot of time. He lost about 4 seconds and counting. So what happened there? Victim of the dirty air, probably. There was... I cannot explain it. Maybe a hardware malfunction or just a bubble, but that's unfortunate for Argenis Riera. He will have to come up with some different strategy, maybe a bold undercut or just hard driving to come back for Josh Mills, because losing the car there, and he caught it at the right moment, because he almost went into the gravel, which would have been even more costly. But that left part of the turn 1, you have a little grass patch, but it's mostly tarmac. It's still a place where you can accumulate marbles on your tire, and also a little grass from the patch. So that's unfortunate, really, for the Aston Martin driver. Leaving Mills in first position comfortably, that's another thing. When you're alone in first position, you can actually become in a state of focus and unfocusing at the same time. And he's caught out behind the back marker, so that's going to make him lose maybe half a second. Which won't be harming. But I was explaining that sometimes we're in first position and you're alone. You can lose your focus because nothing's happening and you're not on the edge and you don't have that adrenaline rush that you have battling a guy. So will Josh Mills keep his composure and let the gap not decrease that much? And I'm looking at the gaps right now. It's the accordion effect. Sometimes you see the gap reducing, but now Riera, according to my informations, he would be 3 seconds behind Mills, and he was 4.5. 1, 2, 3. So that makes sense. 3.5 right now from the telemetry I have on my screen. So he's reducing the gap. Is that Mills just nursing his tires? Is that Riera doing better laps than Mills? The last lap, Riera was 0.4 quicker than Mills. That's what I have for information. So far, the best lap is Josh Mills with 1:29.5. That's the fastest lap so far. And the closest to that lap would be Magasrevi with a 29.8. 3 tenths apart. Now we have a battle for 15th and 16th place. The McLaren is oh wow, okay. That went fast. Okay, sorry. That was a back marker. So Stefan Brotherson behind Cliff Van Lievarde. Alpha versus Alpha. So who's the Alpha here? We're about to figure it out. Just 1 second between Broderson and Van Leeuwarden. Or we could call him Cliff. Taking advantage of the draft here, arriving at 130R. That is both drivers on the medium compound, hard on the rumble strip, no advantage here from neither of them. And the Alfa Romeo not taking much advantage of the draft here. Now, usually you stick your nose and behind a car to get as much, well, as less resistance, less drag possible. Took a while to go there. I don't know why. Can't explain. So, Riera for the win, according to F1 Podcast. He's saying, but Mills is driving a great race too. Yeah, for sure. You're predicting that Riera and the Aston Martin will reduce the gap from. Well, you already reduced a lot of space, because you see, last lap was a 130.4 and the other one was 130.6, and I saw that the lap before that he also reduced the gap. So yeah, it's Mills' race to lose, but he's got to bring it home. Fair observation, my friend. You know the drill. We want to see Riera come back, and we saw him come back last race, so we know he can do it. And Mills is no stranger to these little spin on the relaunch that can make him lose a tenth or two here and there. So what do we have for battles elsewhere in the field? We still have Broderson behind Cliff, so Van Leeuwarden. Both a lap down, but nevertheless fighting for, even though they're not fighting for points, the rankings in the championships are according to, you know, positions at the end. Reminding our viewers that, yeah, so Higgins in 14th. What happened with him? Oh yeah, went wide on Degner too, and now, okay, no, he has problems now. He has damage. He has no more front wing. Ooh, okay. So he might be able to go into pits and replace that, getting out of everyone's way, and I think he will retire the car. Is that it? Okay, no, he just John Deered his way through Spoon on the grass. Sorry. Sorry. I just came up with that one. And that's his teammate passing him. No, but he's going really slow. I think it's more than just a front wing, I presume. And look, he's still going. He has to go through the edges of the track in order to not be a factor, and he will go back in the pits. Can his car be repaired, or is he damaged beyond repairs? I think if it would be damaged beyond repairs, he would have actually retired the car already. So, and Riera is now within 2 seconds. We're going to have a look at him as soon as we figure out if Sean Higgins can repair his car. Now we see the pit crew at it. Incredible work. No, nothing's happening. We don't see anything. But he's very much in the pits. It's taking a lot of time. I think he has a wing back, and he's back on track. Sean Higgins. All right. So now that we know his fate, which is finishing the race so far, we can go back on Riera and his remontada. So Riera for Aramco Aston Martin Racing, chasing Josh Mills for Oracle Red Bull Racing. So you guys figured out that we still have last year's team names, which is not really a factor here. These cars are evenly matched. So spec racing amongst Formula Ones. And we're at lap 34 out of 53. So there is 19 laps left in this race, which is more than enough. And oh, we got Riera in the pits. So that's the undercut I was expecting. Although he pitted before Mills in the first pit window did an overcut on Riera, staying with the soft compound and being able to gain a little time. So Mills got out of the pits at the same time as Riera got there, and wow, that was a quick stop. But yeah, when it's just for tires, it's expected to... and I see a soft compound on Riera. This will probably be it, because he has less fuel in his car, so his tires will last longer than the previous 16 laps. Now we have about 18 laps to go. So we should see Riera going balls out, sorry for that, in order to catch Josh Mills. Will Josh Mills cope with that and try to reduce the effect of the undercut by pitting right away? So I'm on Mills right now, arriving at 130R. We're going to watch Riera. He's 15 seconds behind Mills, and that's reducing the gap a lot right now with the soft compounds. And yes, Mills in the pits. He has to. Otherwise, the undercut will work and he will have to overtake Riera again. So that's what we want to see. Will Riera and Magas Revi in the pits as well. So that's Riera's spot to take. Going very good. Very, how can I say that? Very slick, or at Casio corner, and Mills out of the pit. Riera arriving full throttle. So Mills in front of Riera, but Riera has the warm tires. So we'll see the gap decrease a little bit. Both driver on soft tires. No surprises there. It's going to be a fight for first position, and it would be also a fight for the fastest lap of the race with the lightweight car and the softer compound. So it should be between these two drivers. Unfortunately for Riera, not enough undercut to be able to overtake Mills, but he reduced the gap. So that's 0.8 between Riera and Mills. And F1 Podcast, Mr. Marty Simo, your prediction might happen. You already have my respect, but you'll gain a little more if you pull that one out. That's for sure. All bets are on. I only have one prediction for the winner here. So come on, people on the live. We have 11 viewers right now. Thank you for staying with me on this Thursday night. Or I would say us, because I'm not alone, and with my friend Jazz here in the booth producing the show, keeping me focused and providing me with great insights on whatever is happening in the race. So Riera lost a little bit of time here. He was 1.2 second. Now he's fluctuating between 1.5 and 2, depending on where they at on track with the accordion effect. on the telemetry. Let's see where else on track there's a battle, and nowhere. But we're not totally done with the pit window, the pit stops. So we'll have a great picture within a few laps, I assume. So Richard Haney in the pits for Williams. Yeah. I just read the live. Yeah, John Deere's way. That's my new one. Yeah, we're here to have fun. Keep that in mind. Where will we be if we don't have a sense of humor? I tell you. Riera 1.4 seconds behind Mills, so he's back on track. Suzuka circuit. So let me remind you, great circuit, one of the favorite amongst drivers. That's a circuit that has been on the Formula One calendar for decades. Used to be the season finale. That's where I had my heartbreak, 1996, when Jacques Villeneuve was chasing Damon Hill for a potential championship win and went off track, lost a tire, and that was hit. Congratulations to Damon Hill for this season, and of course for everybody who knows F1 history, Villeneuve got the championship the year after, so still got what we wanted. We're going to be in China in 2 weeks. Same same bat hour, same bat channel. Don't forget, so 9 o'clock Eastern time zone, well, 21 o'clock Eastern time zone on GTCQ TV, China Formula One Grand Prix. And will Mills, open the gap even more from Riera, or will Riera straighten things up and come back in a championship? And keep in mind, none of these drivers had the fastest lap last race around, so let's say that Riera pulls out a win and get the fastest lap, he would take the first step of the championship standings. Otherwise, so far the best lap belongs to Mills, which is a 1:28.226, and that was his last lap. So he's on a mission. That is pretty. I don't know if you guys hear that in your feed, but the cars going at Spoon, you hear some. It's like a whistle with the aerodynamics and the breaking the wind. It's like something is whistling in my ears, and I know nobody is. So I thought somebody was whistling in my ears, but turns out it was just the cars. And it's happening in the S's as well. Or there's a Haas car getting out of the pits right now. So just, okay, patiently waiting for Riera to go by. Riera, no stranger to backmarker drama. And you hear that whistle right here. It might be just Josh Mills whistling in his car, like just staying in front and having fun. Dagner 1 and 2, and Mills is on a mission, and Riera can't just reduce the gap right now. Do we have anything else on track? We got Richard Haney behind Jacopo Cardoso at the exit of Spoon. Let's watch this because he's got the draft, and the gap is reducing. Quite frankly, a lot. At 130R, can Haney put himself in a good position for an overtake at the start-finish stretch? He's got a good corner exit. Oh, yeah. And he's got the soft compound as well. The Mercedes driver is on the medium. Richard Haney and the Mercedes, it's, sorry. Is Jacobo Cardoso protecting the position side by side in turn one. Haney making his stick, trying to keep the position, not having it. Wow, good protection from the Mercedes driver. But Haney, that's not his last word. Won't be his last attempt. Very much on Cardoso's tail. It will happen. He's got the soft tires, the fresh set of soft tires. He has arrived at Dunlop curve on the tail. Can he make it at Degner? That's not an overtaking spot. So cleverly waiting, but he's going to be chased by the Alpine as well. So he's on the attack, and he will be under attack if he doesn't pay attention to that Juan del Castillo. So this is great. Haney on Cardoso's tail, arriving at Spoon, and Del Castillo on Haney's tail. Can Del Castillo take advantage of the distraction here and do a 2-for-1? Del Castillo on the inside of Haney at 130R. Okay. Not doing it. Clever from him, patiently waiting. Everybody at the Casio triangle going well. Haney in the draft of the Mercedes. Mercedes protecting once again. Del Castillo right behind Haney, side by side, turn one. Del Castillo on the inside. No, not happening. He almost did it. I was sure it was going to happen. But Richard Haney took the first position, and now Del Castillo in the rear of Jacobo Cardoso. That's the fight for 8th position, 7th position, so 7th to 9th. A matter of seconds before Del Castillo overtake Cardoso here. And it's going to happen at Degner, will it? No. Pointing his nose, hoping for a mistake. But Del Castillo with the soft compound. Oh wow, Del Castillo spinning, and wow, he's in the Mercedes, both car, a car on fire, the other one lost the rear wing. Drama at the hairpin, and oh wow, that's Del Castillo's car on fire. Fire extinguishers, please. And Del Castillo retired the car. This is big drama, and another car. Who was that? There's a car in the grass I think I saw. Sorry, a lot of things happening at the same time. What just happened there? Let me just go through every drivers and see. What did I see there? That's Jacobo Cardoso. Okay, that's him. Okay, he's just like going on track from the crash because he restarted again, but that's him going out of track. So Cardoso retiring the car as well. Oh, that was a good fight. And Cardoso in the medium compound just holding back Juan del Castillo. Del Castillo ran into him and mayhem happened. So that was a great piece of drama we just witnessed there. Unfortunately, that's not what we wanted, because we would have liked these cars to just battle it out. So that's good for Richard Haney, though. That's giving him a little breathing space. But Haney's going to be caught by Mills and Riera. He's not going to be a factor. Fortunately for Del Castillo, no burns on his skin, because there was a lot of fire behind him. Crazy turn of event here. We had a three-way battle, and now Richard Haney just is getting out of harm's way, and we'll do the same after Casio Triangle. He has more than enough time to negotiate and then let our Genis Riera pass him. Will he move aside right there or keep the outside line perhaps? So Haney, professional, waited to the the best moment to let him pass without losing any ground, or I mean just reducing his loss to a minimum, sorry. So well done by him. So now Riera is 2.5 seconds behind Mills, and there's 9 laps to go. Can it happen? And in the meantime, oof, a little bit disappointed, I gotta say, from the crash that we just witnessed at the hairpin. It could have been a good battle between Del Castillo and Haney, when Del Castillo would have overtaken Cardoso. So Cardoso will finish in front of Del Castillo because he managed to put his car out of the gravel trap and just go further on track. But things being what they are, now the laps they were in front of, you know, they had a few laps in front of other back markers. Now they caught up. If it would happen at the last lap of the race, they would have, you know, maybe kept a few positions at that moment. And the best lap of the race, believe it or not, is a 1:28, a flat 000 for Josh Mills. Riera not far from that with a 1:28.396, so almost a 1:28.4. That's 0.4 slower. And Mills very much in control so far. Let's see. Not that much of a wiggle at the exit of the hairpin. I'm trying to see if there's other battles in the mid-pack. Not so far. And we got 5 cars, 5 retired cars. Last race we had 6. So we're trying to, okay, I'll make a deal with the drivers. We'll try to get less and less retirements as the season goes by. So next race in China in 2 weeks, you have the right, you can have 4. Let's put it that way. Or just, not be worse. So you can have a 6th one today and maybe have 5 next week. But we don't want that. We want good battles on track, and the more cars we have, the more battles we'll see. Riera, 2 seconds behind Mills. He's coming alive. .9 back markers between Dagner curves. So that's an Alfa Romeo. Stay on the outside, my friend. Oh no, he has a race of his own. That's the thing. Oh, the Red Bull got distracted by AlphaTauri of all cars. Well, there's no team rules between these. This is not the real championship, so no team orders. Yeah. Well, okay, that's the thing. When you're in front on a straight, never get out of line at the last moment. That's the thing that we're learning. If we're getting past, usually you stick where you are and you don't move, and the other driver behind, which is faster, will pass you. Because if you change direction at the last moment, you might be caught by surprise and something bad might happen. Just pointing that out. So now we're still 2 seconds apart from Riera and Mills. No fight in the mid-pack. That's what we want. That's what we're looking at. But unfortunately, the gap is not reducing. Or is it? It's fluctuating between 2 seconds and 1.6. As I said, the accordion effect sometimes make the telemetry. Okay, no, like Riera is really, he's coming alive right now. Last lap was a 128.6 for Riera and a 129.1 for Mills. So that's almost half a second faster. Come on, sir. For showtime purposes, come back and provide us with the same aggressivity, well, the same aggressiveness, let's put it that way, as 2 weeks ago. Okay, no, that's 1.1 second. You see the gap between the cars. They're going so fast that 1 second is a lot, and at the same time, not much in Formula One. You see the distance between the car. That's 1 second. Now that increased a little bit. And that's the thing with the faster the cars are, the more costly the mistakes are. Except if that's a slow corner. But if you make a mistake in a fast sector, in a fast section of the track, the cars are having so fast that this mistake is really, really costly. We can still see smoke from Juan del Castillo's car that was there earlier. Great work from the marshals extinguishing that fire and keeping Juan del Castillo alive. Not making another Niki Lauda out of him. Oh, okay. So we have a good piece of information here. Elise Tate felt dizzy, so retired from the race. Thank you for the insight, Lord Sky. And we got 2 other DNFs. So Sean Higgins retired. We remember Higgins had problems. He has to change his front wing, but he might have had something worse than that we were not aware of. Because it was not going super fast. You know, we understand that without a wing you're not going fast, but he was going pretty slow. So he probably repaired the wing and wasn't able to drive the car at the speed he wanted, so decided to retire. So and we got Ezequiel Montero in the pit, probably maybe for a fresher set of slicks. May be able to, well, I don't know if he's going to be able to do the fastest lap, because so far his fastest lap is a 29.3, and he's got a 1.3 seconds to gain in order to beat his teammate. Well, I say his teammate. Remember that Montero is filling in for Jean-Pierre Lalancette, which retired from the last race and is not here this week for, I guess, personal reasons. So thank you, Lord Sky, for that precious piece of information. But can Montero do a fast lap? Never know. Light car, fresh set of stickers. So as I said, I was about to say that unfortunately I wanted less retirements race to race, but it didn't improve because it's even worse than last race. We got 7 DNFs so far. There's 4 laps to go. And the difference between the gap between Mills and Riera, not reducing much. I'm watching Mills as we speak, waiting on that just a little mistake to make things a little crunchier. I gotta say the 2 cars are really pretty. The Aston Martin and the Red Bull liveries are astonishingly pretty. Oh, Mills. Okay, so we got a cockpit perspective of Mills right now, which is it's super fun to see. You got to see that Suzuka track from the driver's perspective. And you'll feel the speed at 130R and the technicality of the chicane at Casio Triangle. Okay, so there's a thing here. Mills is catching up. Glenn Cooper, I think, No, that's not Cooper. I'm sorry. That's Ricardo Senior. And he's catching Senior, which is Riera's teammate. Let's hope he's not going to play team's order and interfere with Mills, because that's not how we want things to turn out, to unfold. What is he doing? So he's still in front, but he's gonna let him go. But that's gonna be enough. That's gonna be enough for Riera to catch Mills. He's right on his tail. Mills had to cope with Ricardo Senior's presence. Not sure it was intentional, but he almost lost the car underneath the bridge after Degner 2. So now Riera, following Mills. Remember that Riera made a little mistake in turn 1, and that's why he's so far right now. And he's not that far, because he managed to reduce the gap quite a bit, from 4.5 seconds to, you know, wherever he is right now. But just like slight slide at Casio corner from Riera. So not quite on Mills' tail. Mills still with a 128. Flat for fastest lap. Yeah, and we got 2 laps to go. Not even that. Can Riera make something happen? Can't he pull a cat out of the hat? Or that's a rabbit. Not happening so far. And we're approaching 1 lap to go. Both drivers arriving at Spoon. And just reminding you, no battles in the midfield so far. So everybody on his little train in their no man's land. Whirl is close to Mitsalis, that 1.5 second, but that's not better than what we're having on our screen right now between Mills and Riera. That's for sure. Watching Mills right now, hoping. Okay, so negotiating Casio triangle into the last corner, and we are starting the last lap, 53 out of 53 at Suzuka, Japan. This is the second race of the 2024 championship SimRacingHub F1 on RFactor2, a platform available on Steam on your computers, which looks very fun, and I will try it soon. No gaps reducing between Riera and Mills. Maybe Riera not pushing much, knowing that unless something really dramatic happens to Mills, he will have to bang these points. And if things stays like they are, and I'm pretty positive they probably will be, Mills will have another 7 points gain on Argenis Riera. Of course, things have to stick like that. So we got some supporters for Mitsalis here. Axie Avi, and we got Magic Hand Mills from Good. Well, thank you for your messages. And Mills negotiating the last corner, and will win the second race. 2 races in a row for the Red Bull driver, followed by Argenis Riera. Both drivers very much in the mix again. And behind that, do we have other drivers fighting? We got Bill Worrell behind Tony Mitsalis, and they're still fighting. Bill Worrell very much in Mitsalis' tail. Within a second, Can something happen between these two drivers? Both on different tire compounds, but Mitsalis has a supporter on the live, so that's what he or she wants to see. I don't know. Negotiating Spoon onto the backstretch. Ferrari following AlphaTauri here. I don't think it's going to happen as well. Mitsalis arriving at the Casio Triangle, negotiating without any issues last corner, and that will be it. But oh no, we got Brotherson and okay, no, these guys are okay, their race is done. They're just playing around on their slowdown lap. So that wraps it up, viewers. Great racing against no stranger to drama. Once again, not the same drama that we had last race around, but wow, that delivered. Great fighting in the midfield. Good battle between Mills and Riera, and that crazy crash between Juan del Castillo and Jacopo Cardoso at the hairpin. Richard Haney being in front and taking advantage of these cars retiring. Woof. Wow. All right. Whew. That was a fun 53 laps. So standings for this race. Josh Mills first, our Dennis Riera second. You know that it happened 2 weeks in a row. This time around, Riera didn't have anything for Mills in the last part of the race. The other Aston Martin was in the way, but I don't think it was intentional. It caught Mills by surprise. Almost made him crash. That said, wasn't much of a factor. Then you got Janos Magasrevi in third position, followed by Mr. Richard Walcott. Otto Acosta in fifth position. You got Glenn Cooper in sixth, Richard Haney in seventh, Ezequiel Montero in eighth, filling in for Jean-Pierre Lalancette in the Red Bull team. And then you got Tony Mitsalis, Bill Worrell. That wraps up top 10. So these drivers will score points for their team and for themselves today. And then you got 11 Cliff Van Livarde, 12 Stefan Brotherson, 13 Ricardo Senior, Elise Tape, the first retired car of the 7. Elise Tape retired because of dizziness issues. That can happen in sim racing. Some racers might also race with virtual reality helmets or goggles, which sometimes can be hard on the dizziness, on the brain actually. And then you got the other DNFs. Sean Higgins lost his front wing unfortunately, and had to retire the car after that, try to come back. Jacobo Cardoso, Juan del Castillo, Thomas Shepard, Jeff Oppenheim, and John Cook who actually didn't start the race. I don't know what happened. He probably had some mishaps in turn one. So another great race. Seriously, lots of action, mayhem. We saw a car on fire. I haven't seen that. I didn't know it was possible. We saw a new lawnmower ad from Sean Higgins as well. Thank you, viewers, for sticking in. As I said at the beginning of the race, I won't be doing this on my own for the whole season. It will happen again, but my co-host Joe Wenzel, aka Greasy Samsquatch, will be with me at some point during the season, and we'll have great chat between me and him. I'm just missing him a lot because usually it's more fun when we are two. But thank you guys on the live for providing me with a little texting and questions and hints and insights during that race. We're going to be in China in 2 weeks. So stay tuned. Don't forget to go watch SimRacingHub F1 on their website, where you can see the standings, the calendar, the team standings, and the rules regulations as well. If you want to dig more into that championship, there's a lot of pages for that rules and regulations. I printed it, but that's a big document to read. So I highly recommend you go see this so you can understand properly, because that's too much for me to explain it in the time that I have for you. So China in 2 weeks. Remember to follow SimRacingHub. Go see my friend Marty Simon F1 podcast on all the popular podcast platforms. If you want to figure out how it's written, go see in the chat. And for Jasmin Collard, my producer, and François Goulet, thank you for being here. Thank you for following your SimRacingHub F1 Championship 2024 on GTCQ TV, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Adios.